Hello there, welcome to 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside Albert Cita and Guillermo Cita. I want to thank you for joining us and pressing play on whatever format you are enjoying us on, whether it be our YouTube channel under 5RoundMMA or our podcast through iTunes, or you're on 5roundmma.com and check out some articles and just pressing play. You guys want to jump right into it? UFC 160.
Well, preferably, I hope they're pushing play on YouTube because I like being seen, not heard.
Oh, there you go. Or read, right?
Yeah.
UFC 166 took place this past Saturday. I want to get guys just one word to sum up the card, Albert.
Amazing. Yes.
Gamble,
I thought that was
one word, Gamble, one word.
He already stole it from me. I was going to say
used
yes.
3 words.
Three words, so you clearly didn't follow the rules.
I was only going to say yes.
Yes? I think it's a general consensus, yes, as a whole. I think from top to bottom, right? From the first prelim card on Facebook to the main event.
Exactly like I said, from the preliminary cards to the end, we saw action-packed.
What was the quote last week? The stackness of the card, right?
The stackness. And the stackness came through.
The stackness came through?
Yeah.
And then after the card, he had a very awesome quote that...
what was the quote?
It was, Cain Velasquez has my spirit, but Dio Sanchez has my heart.
Wow.
I think I'm going to put that on our profile.
That's like a Hallmark card right there. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the meat and potatoes, I just want to say Guillermo didn't like it, but I loved it. KJ Nunes versus George Stopropoulos.
That was a good fight. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight, but I mean, like,
it didn't really mean
I could care
anything to
less. Yeah, it didn't mean nothing to me.
Yeah, but I think it was still an entertaining fight. Then you had the ladies throw it down. You had, I wouldn't say an upset. I would say more of a little surprise that Jessica I was victorious in the fight.
Great fight, too.
It was very entertaining. Not the best women's fight, but it was entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
And then we get to my boy Hector Lombard viciously. I think he might get press charges. I mean, I think Nate Marquardt might press charges on first attempt murder.
I wasn't impressed by that victory.
No, he almost literally killed the guy. And then you had Timbo Chibi-Dalloway at the end. And that was kind of a trade-off. They kept going back and forth. It was entertaining till the bell.
Well, I mean, like, if you enjoy watching a guy get eye poked like 3 times, that was kind of fun.
Before the eye poke is when I'm talking about.
Well, after the eye poke was when the fight got interesting when Timbo got mad. You poked me in my eye! Ah!
But overall, it was
Timbo
a
was
good
pretty
card.
funny after he got eye poked every time.
Stop that! Stop it! But I think for the prelim card, I think we also want to focus on the biggest news with Hector Lombard making his welterweight division. Was a move that he was forced to by the UFC brass, saying, hey, you're not cut it in the middleweight division. If you want to stay in the UFC, you want to stay relevant in the UFC, drop down to 170. And he looked pretty good. He actually came in at 169.
Yeah.
So
I think he did that intentionally to kind of like stamp it like, oh, not only can I make 170,
I'll come
it's
under.
an ease for me.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think
he said it was one of the hardest things.
He says it, but he's stating, I think he's making
I think you're speaking for him.
Or is he like, I'm reading too much into that?
Yeah, I know. I think you're
Trust me,
looking too much into this when he said he had a difficult
if you're not
time
looking
dropping
hard
down.
enough, you're not looking at all.
Were you not paying attention to Hector Lombard at all?
I saw a lightning bolt happen during the fight, so I paid attention to that, and I did hear him say that the cut wasn't that easy. But you have to keep in mind, it's a game you gotta play. It's like chess, you know. You gotta bring in the crowd, enjoy them, but then you sneak in those little hidden agenda. Like obviously he's gonna say it was a hard cut because he wants to get the respect out there, but at the same time he comes in at 169. You know what I'm saying?
He did come in under. I expected him to come in at 171.
I just think
but he came in at 169. I was surprised.
A guy says it was a difficult cut, and
he comes in at 169.
Out of all that, he got this whole freaking.
I got him coming in at 169.
If I were to show you a picture of Hector Lombard, would you say, oh, that guy weighs 169 pounds? That guy's like a 169 of pure muscle, like a stone.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know.
I do want to make this point before we move on, or if before we get off discussion.
Yeah,
is I kind of dissected Hector Lombard. I put him in this category of like there's people in this world that have like a real monster in them. And like when I see Hector Lombard, I see it come out, and I mean he throws with the worst intentions in the world. I mean he has murder written in his fist, and that's all I see him throw is just these vicious things. But wait, before you but then like Rory McDonald, he has a whole different category.
Like
he doesn't have a monster in him. He likes the finer things in life. You get me? No, listen.
Champagne
when he eats his steak or drinks
caviar,
or when he drinks his wine, he sits there and he enjoys it. He cuts it a specific way. Listen, he cuts it a specific way.
Analogy,
and he enjoys it. When he fights the same way. He picks it apart. He enjoys his
cuts his
nice
steak into little
piece.
pieces before he eats it.
And he's enjoying himself. And I'm just trying to say these are the two complete. That's why. But I'm saying Hector Lombard's that type of fighter.
So
I
like
believe.
Roy McDonald likes a full course meal, right? From the
Exactly.
appetizer to the salad to the entree to the dessert. To
But
the
don't ever
after
get it
coffee.
wrong. He's enjoying every bit of it.
Where Hector Lombard just give me a feast and I'll
And
chomp on
Hector,
it.
yep, he's gonna hack the. You know.
Now, judging by Gambo's reaction, I don't think he was too impressed by her. Or do you think Hector Lombard is a threat now in the
let me-
welterweight division?
let me start off with one thing.
And then I'll show you why you're
It's
wrong.
obvious
Okay.
Albert ate the worm after the tequila yesterday because this guy is
Albert
like,
buying wolf tickets?
yeah, this guy is like in the
have
mind
never
of
bought a
Hector
wolf ticket
Lombard,
in my
in the
life.
mind of Roy McDonald. You're Albert Cita. So that's first. Second, I wasn't impressed. Who is Nate Marquardt
I'll
at this
tell you
point?
that, I was hoping he was bringing that up.
At
I'll tell
this
you who Nate
point,
Marquardt is right
Nate
now.
Marquardt has been cut before
Okay, yeah,
for
that's true.
performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah, and
Not because of
and
performance.
failed to make weight too.
Not because of
not because of performance, and because of weight. So at this point, well, the last fight Nate Marquardt had before Hector Lombard, he lost to Tariq Safadine.
Yeah.
The belt.
He got knocked out by Jakeellenberger too. Remember before?
Oh yeah,
this?
and he got knocked out by Jakeellenberger. So at this point, how can you say that Hector Lombard has his like killer instinct? It's like
Well, he did. I
it's
mean-
expected for
Well,
him
he
to
does.
be Nate Marquardt.
Well, do you think? Okay,
Yeah, it's expected of him not to murder the guy.
but okay, do you,
where
Well,
was there a murder? I mean, like, it wasn't a devastating knockout. It wasn't even in the conversation for knockout of the night.
but you don't see it as okay. Like, here, Lombard, here's this test. You better get past it. If you don't get past it, you don't deserve to be in the UFC. He got past it, right?
Yeah, I'll give him credit for that. But that welterweight division, there's no way I ever see him being in the top. It's just too stacked on top.
Do you think he has a shot against Jakeellenberger? Maybe.
I think that would be fireworks.
Yeah, I mean,
the heck?
it would be fireworks.
It would because if he trades with Jake Ellenberger,
It's still fireworks. Still fireworks, right? Still fireworks.
Yeah, well, I thought you meant like back and forth. There ain't gonna be no back and forth.
oh my goodness.
There is no back and
yeah,
forth.
you have like what Jake Ellenberger's Martin Kampman.
I just hate how he likes
me,
Hector Lombard so
underline
much
me,
when Hector
whatever.
Lombard has
Look.
not done anything in the UFC to warrant that.
And I'll
a good
bet the house on this. All right, GSP no longer holds that welterweight division.
We have the same house, so
And
you
now-
can't bet that.
And now belongs to Hector Lombard. Trust me.
No,
that has his name on it. And before you go, Nate Marquardt, before he lost to Anderson Silva said this guy is going to be the next champion. He spoke very highly of him. Since then, technically he went 1,
peaked,
2,
right?
3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. He had 10 fights won after that Anderson Silva fight. You guys act like he
No,
like
I
disappeared.
did.
No, I'm saying you act like he
I have
disappeared.
a bone to pick
Tariq
'cause-
Safadine, it was already considered a high contender to begin with, and I think he's already in the top of the welterweight. Jake Ellenberger, he goes.
I don't
back
even
and
remember the
forth
last time
left to
Tariq
right.
Safadine fought,
That was the last time
That's
he fought
because
with
he's
Nate Marquardt.
injured. Yeah, because he's injured.
which is strike
But
for.
I mean, I think I wrote an article last week about how bad the welterweight division is now.
Yeah.
But I think with Hector Lombard has the opportunity to be a spark plug in it. I mean, now
I think he makes things interesting. In my opinion, I just don't like one day he's Roy McDonald and the next day he's Hector Lombard.
I'm always
Like-
Roy McDonald though.
What?
You just said that
I'm
Hector.
confused right now. Who's who? Who's what now?
He said that what Roy McDonald lacks is a monster
I
inside
didn't
of
say
him.
he
Like
lacked that.
that
When did I
Hector-
say that?
Okay.
I was saying he's this type of fighter and Hector Lombard's this type of fighter. I never said
Two different
he
fighters, yeah.
lacked it. It's
Oh.
just a different way to
A
approach the game.
different way, yeah, a different way of
It's a
killing.
different approach to
A
the
different way
game.
of killing somebody, as Albert likes to say, right?
Yeah.
There's
But
no
I-
killing going on.
I do think
That's why there's
Lombard.
different degrees of murder, right?
I think the best thing they do is just keep him away from Jake Shields, Lombard, and then he'll.
Why is that, Alex?
Because
Why is that?
'Cause
Because Jake Shields would probably beat Hector Lombard by just
laying on
wrestling him.
Yeah, so
Thank
I think
you.
if
Proving
anybody-
my point.
But I mean, because you show comment
this
did so.
stand up isn't going to work against Hector Lombard, okay? You're what's going to
They'll put him up fisticuffs, stand up.
It ain't going to work against Hector Lombard.
All
He's going
right.
to lay him out before you can even touch
I'm
him.
tired of Hector Lombard, or not. I like Hector
I'm
Lombard.
not.
I love Hector
You just don't
Lombard.
think
I
he's-
hate
you just don't think
his
he's
approach to Hector Lombard.
couple more fights for Lombard before
Yes.
he's considered contention.
No, I love Hector Lombard. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an awesome fighter. I just think this guy praises him like better
I
than
don't
sliced
tell
bread.
him when I see it. That's
all
why.
right. So let's see if we all get the same page here. Gilbert Melendez versus Diego Sanchez. I think personified heart to the max, right?
To the max.
I think Diego is a big inspiration because when you think you should just throw in the towel, like, hey, this guy's better than me, he'll still push forward. And you can't measure someone's heart. And I think that's the main thing that you got to take away from Diego Sanchez, whether he wins or loses. It's funny because at the end, Dana White was talking to Joe Rogan at the end of the pay-per-view about, this being the fight of the century.
Yeah.
And never did they mention, they mentioned Gilbert Melendez, but
Not
very
towards the
little.
end, though, yeah.
It was more a conversation of Diego Sanchez. So, that proves so much of what heart can bring into a fight or to any sport in general.
And I think there is a big difference between, like, the way he fights and, like, if you put, like, the Forrest Griffin and, like,
Stephen Bonner?
Stephen Bonner, or like, or even the I can't.
Don't get
I
upset,
can't believe
Albert.
the guy Korean Zombie fought
Leonard Garcia.
Leonard Garcia. I think they're completely different than Diego because I think Diego's approach is way different. I mean, there's sloppy fighting, and then there's someone that it has a determination that I'm gonna leave it all out there rather than sloppy fighting. I think that's the big difference. I think Diego has something in mind while these other guys are just throwing random things. I think Diego.
Diego's throwing randomly.
Diego still sees the light at the end of the tunnel, and he's still reaching for it.
It's almost like almost like a controlled type of chaos, right?
And the other thing that I think people overlook too is like, you see a lot of fights where the fighter is clearly losing the fight, and you're like, well, why not just go all out? You're gonna lose anyways. Why don't you go all out? And that's, I think that's respect Diego should get, because okay, he's down, but guess what? I'm still gonna push it. I'm gonna still go and get it.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys, where does this fight, Sanchez versus Melendez, rank for you among the all-time greatest fights? I mean, people are fight of the year already, fight of the last 10 years. I mean, personally, where does that rank for you, Guillermo? This fight?
It's up there. Oh.
Yeah. Well, see, it's still fresh.
Yeah.
So I gotta think.
What
back
about?
and see.
I mean, before that, people talk about Jones versus Gustafson. What was more entertaining to you?
I think this was more entertaining. I put it number one at the moment, but because I'm such a as you can tell, I'm a big Cain Velasquez fan. I mean, to me, his fights are always ranked number one. But I mean, what Diego did last night and Gilbert Melendez, it was a fight that's hard to recreate.
Yeah, I think
that's the what makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah,
Cain did it once to JDS, he did it again.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's expected. I want to see a recreation of that fight between any other two fighters, and I bet you don't get the same result.
I think the only thing that would have made this fight and like really stamp it and say this is the best fight in the world was if he would have won when he knocked down Gilbert Melendez,
because it was turn of the tide, right? Yeah.
It was literally like a perfect recipe, and it was like you can't. I mean, this is almost. It will be like it was written, like if this was planned.
Yeah.
If it would have happened like that, would have made so much more spectacular. Because a guy that was losing the fight, but did not want to quit. It was determined that he was going to go until he couldn't go anymore, and then ends up winning it.
I like the fan reaction at the end too. Yeah. I mean, like, look who won.
Yeah. Well, let
the fans decide.
Let me get your reaction. Melendez did come out on top. He even said too, if Diego can't finish me, and if I'm gonna get past Diego, there's not many guys in this division who can finish me. Is he next in line for Pettis after Josh Thompson? Do you think?
Honestly, I'm impressed by Gilbert Melendez.
No, yeah.
I mean, he didn't back down at all. He took the fight.
I think Gilbert Melendez should be fighting Anthony Pettis.
Yeah. Well, for once, I do agree with Dana White. And he said it. I think he said it best. The best thing that could have happened to Gilbert Melendez was Benson Henderson losing.
Yeah.
Because now that he loses,
it's wide open.
He has more of an argument that he should face Anthony Pettis.
And then that first fight was close. So I mean, it's not like it was Benson Henderson super one-sided.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but just to throw some scenarios. If Josh Thompson wins, then Gilbert Melendez deserves it 100% because he has 2 wins on top of Josh Thompson.
Exactly. Yeah.
If John Thompson gives it his all and it looks like it's a back and forth war against Anthony Pettis, Gilbert Melendez still deserves it because guess what? He beat Josh Thompson already twice.
But then TJ Grant's still in the mix because of his injury.
Yeah, but
concussion.
But there's no timetable on that one.
Yeah,
that's why you can't really throw him in the table yet because
that makes it difficult. But then that makes it difficult for Gilbert Melendez.
No, I think Gilbert Melendez is still higher than TJ Grant because I think TJ Grant versus Benson Henderson makes more sense to me.
You're only as good as your last fight
than to put Gilbert Melendez with them.
Yeah. Well, I think he's still ranked number 2. I think he'll still be ranked number 2 after this fight. So I mean, as long as he's still on the top 3, I think he's justified. So
yeah.
But somebody who might not be justified is Daniel Cormier. I mean, this guy was coming in saying he gets a towel shot no matter what. And after last night's performance against Saturday's performance with Roy Nelson, I'm thinking, does this guy deserve a towel shot in either division?
Well, okay,
it's not fair. First of all, it's not fair because he fought after Diego Sanchez and nobody even booed during that fight. I think people were just witness something
I'm
great.
like, I don't care about the fans' reaction. I'm like his performance.
Even
he
me
was
watching
like,
it,
whatever. I mean, like, he didn't really.
but people weren't as much devoted into that fight because of what just happened earlier.
I know, but this is a guy who's supposed to go after John Jones next, and he didn't really do anything to Roy Nelson. I know Roy Nelson's tough.
To DC's credit, no one has ever finished Roy Nelson except for
and to be honest, DC pretty much did what he wanted.
Yeah.
I just felt like
I think he picked them apart.
It's almost like the Glover Teixeira syndrome for me. There's so much time. I'm like, this guy.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference between Glover Teixeira and Daniel Cormier.
Has shown vulnerability in his fights,
and DC hasn't.
I think those are two different. DC has never
DC's
hurt.
been beating people that are bigger than him.
It's a tough sell for me. I don't know. Well, John Jones would be bigger than him too. So.
No, I agree. I don't think he should get an instant title shot, but he should get a top 205 pounder just to prove that he does belong.
I agree.
Yeah, he said that too. Like, okay, there's one guy in my mind, but when I drop down, I'll
give him Ryan Bader. Come on now.
That's not fair. That's not fair for DC.
How's that not fair?
Because I think if he beats Ryan
I thought
Bader,
you said it's not fair for Ryan Bader.
Well, no, I'm just saying because if Ryan,
give him Fabio Maldonado or something.
Well, no, because DC is expected to be Ryan Bader.
Yeah,
it's expected. I think he deserves a bigger test.
Who's a bigger test?
Like Shogun,
Alexander Gustafsson.
Please give him Shogun. Please.
Shogun.
No, I say Gustafsson, Phil Davis,
Dan Henderson
to set up.
I think the Phil
Wanderlei?
Davis.
Wanderlei, maybe.
I think Phil Davis makes more sense just because he can prove that he's not just a wrestler because he's fighting against another wrestler, and I think Alex Gustafsson needs more of a ease in the next fight.
I just think DC should get a lot of credit, not only his fighting style and his skills. But who finishes Roy Nelson?
Well, he could have been being the first guy who could finish Roy Nelson.
And
Look
then
at me, I deserve a title shot now.
Well, the other thing is his coaching. I mean, like it's obvious it works for Cain Velasquez. So I mean, like you got to give a lot of credit to DC.
I'll tell you one thing.
You can't coach yourself.
DC did finish one thing.
What?
This segment. So
yeah, they did. So stick around. We're gonna talk some little UFC 166 main event. Velasquez versus Dos Santos, the end of the trilogy. I think it might be the end, right?
Well, I hope so.
We'll shall see.
One-sided.
So stick around, guys.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com.
UFC 166 saw the end of what many are calling the epic heavyweight trilogy rivalry of them all. I think you guys think Velasquez put a stamp on it. Does he own this rivalry now, Guillermo?
Yes. What is there more to prove for Cain Velasquez? I mean, like, what got me upset leading up to this fight is how much excuses Junior Dos Santos had for losing the previous fight. But as you saw again,
even when he
did
lost,
exactly
the first thing he did was punch his head, huh?
Yeah, right after. Hey, he's hitting me on top of the head. But how many haymakers did Dos Santos try to throw to the ear of Cain Velasquez?
That's true.
So I mean, it's very upsetting that excuses come out of JDS, and that's I think he tried to play himself as such a good person that
it just don't he beat you
like
just
I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. He's the bad guy, but yet he's the one making the excuses.
Yeah.
So I mean, other than that, I think the trilogy is over, but we're gonna see fight 4 and 5 potentially, just because I don't think no one is in the level of those two.
Albert, your reactions to the card, to the fight, and to the rivalry?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to point out, and that was going to be my main point. Was I think the rivalry is done. I think we have a clear winner, but obviously we're still going to see them fight at least one more time, just because I don't see nobody else in the heavyweight division that can get past Junior Dos Santos to challenge for the belt.
Because who's Cain gonna fight? Nobody.
Everybody was talking about Overeem. I doubt Overeem can get back to that hype that he once had when he first entered the UFC.
Yeah. If Bigfoot can knock out Overeem, imagine what JDS would do to Overeem.
So basically,
the other one is Greg Jackson's prospect, Travis Brownie.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him getting past JDS other than those two guys that have the only real potential to kind of break the cycle.
I think before we go a little bit further,
you have JDS as a gatekeeper leading to Cain Velasquez. So
I don't see no one,
and no one is going to be JDS. But there's one person before we get a little bit ahead. It's Gabriel Gonzaga.
He did win. He did call for title shot. I'm getting back up there.
But he's a big fan. He loves the mouth guard.
He did it once before. He shocked the world when he beat Crow Cop. He might do it again. You never know.
I don't think he'll shock the world, but I think
I
Albert is
I don't even wanna
cheering really high to
I
at
don't even
least
want to say
be
anything
recognized.
just because I don't want to jinx Gabriel Gonzalez. All right?
So I mean,
let
obviously,
let the start let it just play out. That's how when it comes to Gabriel Gonzalez, just the stars are aligned. Let it play out.
so obviously
Let it play out.
we're labeling now JDS as a gatekeeper
Gabriel Gonzaga
Yeah.
fan in my life.
to Cain Velasquez.
But because I don't think no one came past the gate,
Yeah.
we're gonna see at least one more fight. Hope maybe even two.
So I mean, UFC's heavyweight division has been kind of had a bumpy history. In you guys' opinion, is Velasquez the best heavyweight to ever compete in the UFC to wear the gold around his waist?
I say yes, but it's funny because yesterday I was like in a discussion with a friend saying that Cain Velasquez, he beat JDS twice, he beat Bigfoot, he hasn't
Brock
beat.
Lesnar.
Well, yeah, but that's prior to losing the belt to JDS the first time. So
Yeah.
I'm saying since winning the belt back, he's only fought JDS twice and Bigfoot. Other than that, he hasn't beat everybody in this weight class at the championship level. Championship level to warrant the best heavyweight of all time.
Who
But
has been the heavyweight champion that can say that in the UFC?
no, I totally
but
agree with you.
I'm saying
I mean,
that's what this argument
yeah.
doesn't work. Who ever in the history of the heavyweight division has done it?
Done
Who?
what?
Retain the
champion?
title.
Oh.
Retain the title
Yeah.
more than
That's
two
what I'm saying,
fights.
'cause the division as a whole has been rocky
that
since
the
the start.
argument I think gets thrown out the window. What I think we need to see is the level of competition.
Yeah.
When Tim Silva was the champion, he would see him fight people that had losing records or go into fighting him after just winning one fight.
And they got
And now-
Arlovsky fighting
yeah.
Cabbage how many times?
Yeah, and then now we have more of a talent pool. Just because Cain Velasquez makes it look so easy doesn't mean that we have talented heavyweights. At the end of the day, Overeem is still a talented fighter. Brock
Yes.
Lesnar was a huge talented fighter.
Yes.
JDS is a huge talented fighter.
Czech Congo?
Czech Congo,
Say it.
maybe.
Say
no,
Czech Congo.
Say it.
no,
Say it.
no,
Say it.
no, no,
Say it.
No, I was hoping he says on
Yeah.
the roll. I'm throwing Czech
But
Congo's
anyways,
huge talented fighter.
And all those names I just said could have easily been champion when Tim Silva was the champion.
That's true.
When Randy Couture was the champion.
Arlovsky. Say it. When Arlovsky was champion, say it.
Or when Arlovsky was champion. But I'm saying that, and these are even Roy Nelson could probably be a champion.
So basically,
And then-
is Velasquez right setting the bar and writing history right now?
Yeah,
obviously?
Yes.
I think
So he's raising the bar.
Yeah, I think the bar
He's
of the
becoming
heavyweight
the top, right?
when we talk about the history division, it starts now.
Okay.
This is when
Well,
it
it started
starts.
the first time he beat JDS.
Before Mike Tyson, was the heavyweight belt relevant?
Well,
no.
when Ali had it.
In
yeah.
the
Ali.
open era, I'm saying
Yeah,
before after Ali, we pretty much get deja vu after Ali.
Yeah, 'cause
and,
after-
pick it back up with Mike Tyson.
Well, yeah, after
and
Ali
I
was
feel
just-
it's gonna be
yeah,
the same way with Cain Velasquez.
Because after Ali, it was like Sugar Ray Leonard who took over boxing. It was a small guy until Mike Tyson came
Yep,
in heavyweight.
exactly,
And then
that's what I'm saying.
After Mike Tyson came, I mean, like heavyweight's been kind of
See,
so.
even and that's where I right now. Actually, in
Klitschko.
boxing, I mean,
Yeah.
Klitschko.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So I think we already touched on it a little bit now. I think what's next for Kane? People are saying Verdum. I mean, he's been the
Give him Verdum. Verdum, what's he gonna do? Last time I saw Verdum face a guy with knockout power, he laid and waited.
Was it JDS who knocked him out too? Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the same thing will happen. Is he's gonna try to stand up because obviously Kane's not gonna go down with them.
I mean, do you think like for future contenders, they should kind of like place him delicately? Because like if you keep putting him in front of JDS, he's gonna keep knocking him out. So we're gonna see JDS versus Kane
Exactly.
like 5 more times.
I think that, and
So
that's
should
what
they
I say they're
should
going
they,
for.
like,
They're gonna find a
dance
back
around
door.
him, right?
Yeah, dance around JDS.
It's that's where you're gonna find Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson's gonna be in the back door.
Nah, man,
Roy-
you
be
kinda
Roy
have
Roy
to,
Nelson's
right?
out of the question.
I
I'm
mean,
talking
no,
about like Overeem. I'm talking about like
Verdum beat Roy Nelson, and look where he's at now.
Yeah, so it's not like where it's the featherweight division where it's so deep where okay you got to beat this guy before you get a title shot.
Yeah.
The heavyweight division is not as deep as that people think it is. So you have to dance around JDS to get it.
Gonzaga has to get through everybody except for JDS. So if Gonzaga gets like let's say Mark Hunt or Roy Nelson and avoids let's say he goes on a 3-fight winning streak, he can get Cain Velasquez without facing JDS.
Yeah, like what about Overeem? If he beats Mir, does he have to go through the JDS? You think just to give him a fight?
I think because
No,
there's a
see,
rivalry there,
he
he has to.
I think Overeem can beat. No, I think Overeem can beat Mir,
Yeah.
and then go on to Roy Nelson.
Even though
and
that won't
still-
happen.
What about
and
Josh
still-
Barnett? You know what I mean? Who does
Yeah.
he have to?
You still got Josh Barnett. Actually, I would give
Who
my.
would win in a fight between Josh Barnett and JDS?
I think JDS had the higher percentage to win the fight, but I would go for Josh Barnett. Just because
would
I think
you?
Josh Barnett can hug him, take him down, and then try to submit him.
Yeah, I think Barnett does have a
even though JDS likes to say he's a black belt, whatever, I really do think that his submission isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean, Barnett is expected to face Travis Brownie next, so that could be. I mean,
See?
honestly,
That could be the next
Brownie. If he gets past Barnett, you could say maybe he deserved a title shot.
Yeah.
But with avoiding
Or if you- I
JDS,
Because he's coming off
or it
a
could
win
go-
over Overeem
Or
and
it could be the other way around too.
Yeah.
I think if Josh Barnett wins, he gets the next title shot, just so we
With
can avoid
avoiding
the
JDS.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting now. I think it's gonna be who can dance around.
And then real quick, we do have a fight
This Saturday, right?
This Saturday.
nah.
But there's only one thing to talk about, and that is Sensei Machida.
Who's filling in for Michael Bisping, right?
Yep. He's going to make his debut at 185. He currently lost in the 205 division against Phil Davis in a very controversial decision, I think. But
true, yeah.
this was an expected move for, I think, about almost close to 2 years. This move should have taken place because of the way things
Because he
turned
couldn't
out.
hang out. He couldn't hang in the 205 weight class, right?
I can't believe
He was
what's
champion.
coming out of your mouth.
He was
First,
champion, but he couldn't get it back.
He couldn't get it back.
He couldn't get the championship.
Let me. Okay. He couldn't get it back. He lost against John Bon Jones.
See what you did,
He
Guillermo.
beat Ryan
Guillermo,
Bader.
see what you
becomes
did.
the first
he almost got
contender.
murdered against Jumbo Jones.
He-
Remember that.
He beat Ryan
Since he
Bader
likes
for
the
first
murder word.
contender. He beat Dan Henderson for first contender.
And they didn't want to
And-
see Jumbo
and he
Jones
sti-
versus
yeah.
Machida again because
No.
they knew that he
Jumbo
was going to
Jones
lose.
didn't want Machida
Oh
because
my-
he was scared of him. He knew what happened in the first round.
I didn't want to see that anyway.
Let's not talk about people champions right now.
UFC
We're talking
Fight
about Lola
Night,
Machida versus.
Machida versus Munoz.
Yeah.
Will be
Munoz
held
will win the fight.
October 26th in Manchester United, Manchester United, in Manchester, United Kingdom. I think it's going to be on Fox Sports 2. I think. I don't know. I'm seeing here Fox Sports 2. One of the Fox Sports or Fox Sports 2. I think maybe Fox Sports has some college football going on that day. They want to supersede, priority. Yeah, but heavy implications on the middleweight division. I think if Machida wins,
Yeah.
watch out Vitor Belfort or watch out Chris Weidman.
Yeah, I know. I really think. Well, again, it all depends on how it goes. Either way, I think Anderson Silva, win or lose, he's not going to keep the championship.
If he wins, he vacates the belt.
yeah.
My personal opinion.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
personal
I can
opinion.
So
see
the way I see it is, I think winner does get Weidman for the belt, either if it's for the interim or for the actual
main
belt.
belt.
Yeah.
So so make sure to check back next week. We'll dissect see if Sensei Machida, Master Machida won.
Mark Munoz wins.
Mark Munoz wins.
Yeah.
Until then, make sure to follow us on Twitter at FiveRoundMMA. Subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes. Subscribe to our podcast, weekly updates. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Check out FiveRoundMMA.com for our articles. Also check out OvertimeDanSoden.com. Overtime, where we talk sports. Our articles will be seen there. I want to thank all of our sponsors. I want to thank Honey Badger Performance Energy Drinks. Get the most out of your workout. Grab a scoop of the Honey Badger and sweat all that out before the holidays come
Oh, it's
around.
over here.
I want to thank the Madhouse Clothing Line, clothes for the fighter and fight fanatic. Go shop at madhouse.com and follow them on Twitter at the Madhouse MMA. I want to thank MMA Victor. If you're like me and Guillermo and your fantasy football teams are just sucking up this season, you want to
That's a low blow.
want to try some fantasy MMA? It's different picks every card, so don't stick with the same players. Go to MMAVictor.com and follow them on Twitter at MMA Victor. I want a big thank you to Top Rated MMA, makers of 100% American-made MMA apparel. Go shop TopRatedMMA.com and follow them on Twitter at Top Rated MMA. Albert, you got some final words?
Just want to thank our executive producer Guillermo Cita, everybody for listening. Our sound producer Steven Russell with Russell Records. Check them out if you have any recording needs. Also, our technician Ollie the Trolley. Thanks everybody for listening.
Cream of the crop.